Welcome to the Inspiration Incubator, April. How are you?
I am doing wonderful.
Good, good, good. I'm so glad to have you with me today. And as my special guest, I want everybody to know they're in for a real treat. Just to give you guys a little background information. As a single parent, it was really important for me to look into my finances, essentially, since I started out in the nonprofit sector, loving to help people, you know, um, taking that route instead of going to school to become a nurse, which was the plan initially. I was going to go to school to become a nurse, and it had all of the financial trinkets in place and so forth and so on. But I remember when I was in a car accident, God, he rerouted me into social services. And I loved it. It was just like food to my soul, working with the students, working with the parents, working with the teens. It just, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to help people get to their next level. However, because I was a single parent, and when I would go through layoffs, because that was very prevalent in Philadelphia at the time with the nonprofit organizations, programs closing, programs opening, that whole thing, I needed to take a serious look at my finances. I needed to say, okay, what is it that I need to do to ensure that my children have stability? And so there were specific financial seeds that I needed to plant that would take root and eventually grow into a tree at a later time. So fast forward, moved to Houston, and at some point I continued my path in nonprofit. However, I transitioned into education as a certified educator. And with that being said, I would hear the conversations between the teachers. And I will never forget a teacher literally breaking down when she found out the money she was going to receive in her retirement fund was not consistent with what she thought it was going to be. And then all these different conversations started to happen around annuities, around life insurance, and, should you get life insurance outside of teaching, and why should you get it? And, what are the benefits of it? And so for me, because I have been looking into how to build generational wealth, how to sustain and maintain generational wealth, life insurance was a huge part of that. But unfortunately, the research that I was doing was not aligning with the understanding that a lot of people had about life insurance. So I said to myself, what is going on? I made a conscious decision to not just educate myself, but to also become a certified life agent so that I could help empower other women and single parents. Why is it that I was attracted directly to that group of people, and also teachers? Because that's who I was. And I knew that it was important and very relevant for single parents, for teachers, and women to have their financial houses in order, because it was just so much going on at that time within the conversations that were being carried, the lack of information, the misinformation. It was heart wrenching to see so many adults just be misinformed or uninformed. And so, with that being said, I did something. I said, you know what? I need a mentor. I need someone who can mentor me and help me become the best that I can be. I want to consult in the area of education and help people with their programs and their procedures, get paid through that, through my LLC, Plans of Action Houston. But I also want to help people maintain, sustain, and just try to attain generational wealth through fundamental financial practices, essentially through life insurance. So with that being said, introducing April Smith. So April, I'm going to tell everybody real quickly before you get started why I chose you as my mentor. I chose April because, just in looking at different resumes, number one, I knew I wanted to work with a woman because I would be working really, really, really closely with this person. And I wanted that female energy. Men and women, we have different energy. And I wanted to work with a sister, didn't matter if she was white, Hispanic, Black. I wanted to work with one of my sisters in terms of life insurance. I wanted to connect with someone who had a similar background as me, who understood the principles of financial building, who understood that single parent dynamic and the importance of single parents being prepared, because you don't have that dynamic duo when you're single. Okay. I wanted to work with a woman who was spiritually grounded because I want all of my blessings to be overflowing and overtaking me. That was important. So as I started looking at her credentials, she was more than prepared to be my mentor. And when I tell you the ins and the outs of this business as it pertains to educating people and just learning the processes, it has been a true ride. But had I not had a mentor, I would not still be a licensed agent. And I don't have any qualms about saying that. And the reason is because this is not the only thing that I do, but this is serious business, people. There are a lot of requirements to having a certification in this particular area. The discipline that it takes, the deadlines that you have to meet, it's a lot. And so having someone who can see what you need to do in order to help support others while you maintain your business, that was critical for me. So I just want to say, April, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for accepting the invitation to become my mentor. And you are appreciated. You are a gift. I'm grateful for you. And I can't wait to hear you empower others today on the Inspiration Incubator. So thank you. So April, you're up.
All right.
Why don't you share with us your backstory, how we connected, and then what was your upbringing life that led you into life insurance?
Okay, I'd be happy to share that. But first, before I do, I just want to share with everyone why Leona was special enough to me in my eyes for me to be able to spend time with her. Leona is passionate about people. We have similar backgrounds and we enjoy doing things like community outreach. We enjoy the youth. And so we both are females, and Leona is an extremely, extremely hard worker. And so Leona, y'all, she the real deal. She is the real deal. And so I love that about her. And I love that she's going above and beyond, that she cares about other people. She loves her family. She's doing everything possible so that her family has more than she has, and that so that she can leave an inheritance for her family. And so I am so proud of Leona and what she's doing. And I can't wait to see what God is going to do next in her life. So the next thing that I want to talk about is my background, why I got started in this industry. And one of the reasons that I got started in this industry is because I come from very humble beginnings. And when I tell you very humble beginnings, my mom was a teen parent. And so you already know the story that goes along with that, and the many, many, many challenges that you face as a child or as a parent coming from a single parent home. And so with that being said, it's just always been inside of me that I wanted to, where I came from or where I started from doesn't mean that that's how I'm going to end. And so I've always said this, and I've shared this with Leona and anybody else that I mentor, is how I got here I didn't have anything to do with that. God had got me here.
Amen.
But how I leave here, it becomes my responsibility. It's my responsibility, the tone that I want to set, how people remember me, what I accomplished in my life, the legacy that I left in my family, the morals and the values that I left in my family. And so those things I ran hard after that, because those are things that are important to me. Not to forget where I came from, but that needs to not be my focus. I need to focus in on where I'm going, and whatever I focus in on is what will expand in my current life. So you can't imagine what it looks like with someone trying to drive a car forward and they're looking backwards in the rear view mirror. So if you're looking backwards in the rear view mirror, you can't go forward because you keep looking backwards. So we need to focus in on where it is that we're going. Yes, we might have had hard beginnings or challenging beginnings, or we may be in a current situation and we don't want to be in that current situation, but don't keep looking back. Look forward, drive your car forward so that you can see where it is that you want to go. See, if you keep looking back, you can't see what's ahead of you. You can't go forward because you always got your head turned backward. So I'm praying that I encourage somebody when I said that you keep moving forward. Keep your eyes on your goals, your vision, your prize, the things that you want to accomplish as we begin this year 2022. And so I've always been proud to be a part of this industry, but I have to admit, in the beginning of this journey, I really didn't understand the impact of what I do. I had heard stories about families and being impacted by not having life insurance. And then I recognized how very critical it is to have a financial plan in place when someone that I personally know was hit with a major and unexpected event, and that's called death. About 5 years ago, it was a very close friend of mine. Her husband suddenly passed away from a heart attack, just like that. Just like that. You're going and moving throughout life and you think everything is going to be okay, but her husband had a heart attack right in the driveway. So the impact of having no life insurance, it had on his wife. It was an impact on his children. It was an impact on his grandchildren. The impact was profound, y'all. It was profound. Their lives would never be the same. Their loved ones was forever gone. So that husband, a friend of mine's husband, he's gone. He's gone. The income is gone. The love is gone. Grandpa's gone. Husband gone. So the family had to lower their standard of living. There was no financial plan in place. So this involved moving to a small apartment and selling their home. And the younger son of the deceased, he was a senior in high school. He suddenly found himself juggling life. He found himself juggling life. His son had to get a job to help out his mom with living expenses, as well as go to football and basketball practice in his hopes of being awarded a college scholarship.
I tell you,
my friend and his wife of the deceased, she now works 2 jobs to pay for a very small apartment. When it hits close to home, when it really hits close to home, and you see your friend that had to have a fish fry, she had to sell clothing, she had to uproot herself and her family. When it hits home like that, life insurance is critical. It's major. Every family needs to have a financial plan in place. So I know Leona has something to share.
Yeah, I wanted to, while you were on fire, just getting people fueled through that story, it's time to transition into the purpose and the benefits of life insurance. And when I say that, people, I'm saying that from the perspective of whether you're a family, whether you are an individual, whether you are an LLC, whether you are an S corp, whether you are a nonprofit organization, whether you are a small business of 5 employees or less. So let's start there, April, because there's so many different dynamics. I want people to get the purpose and the benefits of life insurance for those different entities, families, small businesses with 5 employees or less. So let's start there with that. I think that's an interesting route to take to help people to transition into why it's important to ensure that you have life insurance and the benefits of it.
All right. Thank you, Leona. And so the benefits of having a financial plan or life insurance there in place, we have to consider that death is inevitable. The milk expires in your refrigerator. It expires at my home. It expires in your home. Your cell phones expire. Sometimes, the technology doesn't work right and you have to get a new one. Your car will expire. Your computers expire. Sometimes our computers, they go bad and you have to go get a new one. And guess what, y'all? Your bodies are in the life. Part of our living is also dying, and sometimes our body will expire. So death is something that's guaranteed to happen. It is going to happen. It's inevitable. So I just don't understand why so many people are either underinsured, they're not insured at all, and we have plans. Professionals like myself and Leona, we are financial professionals. We can set your family up to not have to make significant life changes. We can set your family up to be able to change some generations. So wouldn't it be nice to at least give your loved ones this resource?
It would
Wouldn't
be.
it be great?
Yeah, it would be, but I think let's start off, for instance, with the benefits for the small businesses. So for instance, because we're gonna have to spoon feed some people who don't really understand the benefits. So for instance, a small business for 5 people or less, why is it that the employer takes out a life insurance policy, and who owns that life insurance policy and who benefits from it?
That is a great question, Leona, that you would ask that, because I'm not going to knock having life insurance, because certainly if it's available at your job, you want to take advantage of that particular benefit. But you also need to have a life insurance policy in place outside of your job. Because the question is, what happens if you become laid off? What happens if you get fired? What happens if you get sick while you're working on that job and you no longer can work there anymore? So now your benefits that you had at your job are no longer available to you because you're no longer an employee. And I'll hear somebody will say to me, oh, I can take it with me. Okay, you can take it with you, but you are no longer a part of a group plan. You are now an individual, and you now have health challenges. So there are 3 areas that most insurance companies take in consideration when they're coming with your rates and how much insurance that you do qualify for. And the 3 areas that are important, and you need to keep this in mind, is your age, your health, and your lifestyle. Lifestyle meaning, do you exercise? Do you smoke? Do you take good care of yourself? And so these are things that are in consideration when you need to get a life insurance policy. And so just having life insurance at your job is not enough. Most of the time, people, when I'm talking to them, they're underinsured. They don't have enough life insurance. They're making financial choices and decisions by having conversations and discussions with, and I'm gonna use this for an example, having conversations with the dog catcher. Y'all, the dog catcher is not a professional in the area of finance. So it's important that you seek financial advice and information for those that are working in that field, in that arena. So for instance, if you know that you have, it's a family of four, whether single or married, if you know that it's four of you and you have a policy at $50,000 at your job, I'm gonna paint a picture for you. So if you have it $50,000 at your job, and God forbid, you get hit by a bus tomorrow, your three other loved ones at 50,000, your three other loved ones have to now continue on and do life without you. And what happens is we don't really realize, I don't know. I don't get it. The bills are coming every 30 days. You don't really prepare for that. So if you think of this, $50,000, if you've got $50,000 at your job on a group plan, how long would that last your family? How long? You know, for most, it may not even last a year. It may not even last 1 year. Is that what the legacy that you want to leave to your family? Our policies that we have in place, we have extremely affordable policies. And this is where you're going to need to talk to professionals like Leona, like myself, that can set up a plan that will match your needs, that will match your budget. There is no one size fits all. Everybody is not the same. And so
to your point, April, not to cut you off, that was critical what you just said. You said there is no one size fit all. And I want people to know, before I transition into getting you to break that down in terms of term versus whole life.
Yes.
I was a young mother and I had a mortgage because I had a property before I moved to Houston. Okay. And I had a car note and I was not receiving child support for two sons. Okay. At that point in time, I did not at all. I had to budget. All right. So I didn't necessarily want to take the whole life insurance when I could do term for a much smaller rate because it fit into my budget. But I had an excellent agent that I met through my cousin Sarita, and she made sure that I had living benefits attached. But there was only so much that she could do in terms of educating me. That was on me to educate myself. And so I needed to really look at how was that beneficial. So it met the need, since my funds were limited. It met the need in the event that I would die, the amount of money that I wanted my sons to have, or, my beneficiaries, they were going to do pretty good. However, because I wasn't taught as a child, well, I will say this, my mother did teach me about the benefits of whole life at some point, but it wasn't a situation where, we were having financial meetings, it wasn't a situation where, all of that was going on. I really started to say, you know what, I have to do a little better. So when it comes time to transitioning into a whole life policy, Why was that my preference? Why did I have the understanding at some point, I got to get a whole life policy versus term? And the reason why I was thinking like that was because of the benefits for my children long term. And so, can you speak to the benefits of whole life versus term? Because for me as an agent, I didn't want to be a captive agent and just sell one specific type of insurance. I knew that all of my uh, clients would have different needs. And so if someone could only afford this or that, give them what they need and then get back with me and let's get you vested for generations to come. What are your goals? Your goals don't look like my goals, right? My goals don't look like your goals. But when you talk about term versus whole life, it's time to transition into that a little bit because what you said was key. There is no one size fits all. So can you touch bases on that? Whole life versus term.
Absolutely. There are different types of policies that are available for families, individuals, single parents. We have policies for whatever your need is. But the difference between a term policy means just that it's for a term or a period of time. Term policies are also budget friendly for families. So term policies are budget friendly. They're for a period of time. Term policies do not have a savings account inside of it. So that's a term policy. So simply whatever, just like an auto insurance, term policy is the same way. The month you pay, that's when you have life insurance. You stop paying, you don't have that life insurance policy in place. And whole life policy, and this is, I'm giving you just the basics for it, but I just want to also note to everyone that's listening, term policies and whole policies, they're not, there's term policies with different carriers that are different. There are whole life policies that are different with different carriers. It is important that you talk to a financial professional along the way so you can really get a good understanding of it. I'm just giving you a broad idea of what a term policy is and what a whole life policy is. So a whole life policy will protect you for your whole life. That's what it means. Whole life. So it's a permanent, yes, it's a whole life. It is a permanent policy. The rates don't go up and down. The rates won't change on you. It will protect you for your whole life. Whole life policies also have a savings account built inside of the policy that it will build up over time as you pay for your policy. So there's different little nuances to that by the carrier. So again, and I can bullet this, there is no one size fits all. Some people will call me up, I want this or I want that. For the insurance carriers, it's what you qualify for. So there's a qualification process that you'll go through, and your agent would be able to assist you with that. And you're looking at some great agents right here in front of you. Leona, as I said earlier, hey, y'all, she is the deal. She cares about you. She will put your family first. And one of the things that I share when I'm mentoring is we always want to put people, those that we're serving first. We want to serve your family. And so we want to be able to protect you and get you the best policy and plan available for your needs at that particular time. And so we're putting you first. And that's something that's extremely important to me. I know it's something that's extremely important to Leona as well, is that we want to make sure that we are serving you, that we are protecting your family, and that so that you won't have to experience some of the hardships that I shared with you earlier about changing lifestyles because the preparation wasn't there.
Yeah. And I think that for to give you to just piggyback off of what April was saying, with the term life insurance policy that I initially had, it went through up until I was the age 98. But what would happen when I turned 98? The policy would term out. So although the payments were low and I would be paying on it monthly consistently, when I'm 98 years of age, if I'm still here, I would not have life insurance. And that's the difference between whole life versus term. That's one difference. Now, the other difference is, as April was saying, the built-in savings account. There are specific reasons that you can pull out of that whole life policy to help you and your children have a better quality of life. So if you're a family and you have 2 or 3 children, you may want to get whole life insurance on them now so that when they're my age or younger, they want to purchase a home. Let me pull out that money out that life insurance policy. I don't have to go and see if I qualify, although I know I have excellent credit. I don't have to qualify for a loan because I am the creditor. Okay. I'm going to pull this money out, pay for my home, and then I'm going to pay back that money on the back end. The question is, what happens if you don't pay the money back? What happens is when the insurance policy is cashed out, at that point, you just owed what you took out. But there isn't all these hidden fees, taxes, all of these things going on that prevent you from having a quality life that you were living, or that prevent you from having a quality life when you pass away, because you'll still have plenty in your account to cover your funeral expenses. And before April get back on fire over here, let me also say, some people think, because I'm still getting the questions and I'm still hearing the conversations, they think when they hear life insurance that you can only use the money to pay for a funeral. Did you know that? Some people think that if they make a payment towards a life insurance policy, that they can only use the money for a funeral. No, honey. If your life insurance is worth 500,000, 300,000, 1 million, 2 million, that's your money. So whether you getting buried with it or you're getting cremated with it, or whether you have one beneficiary or 2 beneficiaries, the people who are going to receive the money, it's called decisions. It's called choices. It's called goals. Okay. So what your goals look like, what my goals look like are different. But I like where April was headed as it relates to that term versus whole life. And this is one of the reasons why, as you're being mentored in life, I had to pull from April to ask the hard questions beyond what's in the policies, understanding that my goals were in alignment with my current situation and my future situation, understanding how to prepare properly. Because if you've ever been like me, where you have fallen, because I know what it's like to be on welfare. And even when I was on welfare, I still lived like a queen because I knew how to maximize my resources. Even when I was on Section 8, I lived in a queen. I lived as a queen. I lived in the same apartment building as Colby Cole, okay, which is one of Philadelphia's most premier and world-renowned personalities at the time when he was on Power 99 FM. Allen Iverson used to come by our apartment building all the time, not to see me, but to pick up his uncle Greg. Okay. I lived very well. Why? Because number one, I had God's favor on my life. And number two, I maximized my resources. So it positioned me to have things and to do things that maybe other people in my situation that could not. So I admonish anyone who's listening to this podcast today, get yourself a mentor, understand where you want to go, who's been there. Get yourself a life coach, somebody that can listen to these trials and tribulations that you're going through. I do that as well. You know, um, I always tell people, if you are sharing information about yourself to someone who cannot help you with the problem, you are essentially gossiping about yourself. Stop sharing your business with people who cannot help you solve the problems. You're just gossiping about yourself. Okay. The problem that we want to be able to identify the barriers, provide a solution, and to move on to the next level. So back to April. April, when you were talking about the term versus the whole life, what are some of the excuses that you have found over your 20 plus years providing financial services to families and to businesses? What are some of the excuses that you hear?
Oh my goodness, Leona, what a great question. I mean, I've heard I can't afford it before we do a financial analysis. Before you hear any information, I've been told I can't afford it. I've been told I have it at my job. I've been told, can you believe this one? Check this out. I've been told by adults, oh, that my parent has a policy on me, and you are a whole grown person. I've heard that. So I've heard all kinds of things where the policies, we're talking about a cup of coffee a day. We're talking about a cup of coffee a day. We're not talking about a house note. We're talking about a cup of coffee a day.
It's
But what's that, Leona?
it's sad. Even
Yeah.
with some of the mindsets, and you just went over the
Mm.
excuses. What are some of the fallacies that people believe? Because I was shook when I realized people who were not licensed agents, okay, because you licensed throughout the United States of America. I'm
Mm.
licensed here and in Pennsylvania. But the point is, it was just mind blowing to me. People advising people on YouTube, you know,
Mhm.
all over and not understanding the fundamentals as it relates to why it's important to be covered, how much money you need in order to
Mhm.
sustain a quality lifestyle. Because everybody, $1 million is not what it used to be. $1 million is not what it used to be. Do you understand that in the process of earning a paycheck and having those taxes withdrawn, there's also something that happens every day that creeps up on people and they don't understand what it is. It's just creeping up on them. It's called, um, what is it? It just escaped me, April. When every day when we're living, it's just creeping up on us, y'all. Help me out, help me out. The cost of living, that's what it is. And my mind is all over the place. Cost of living. I'm so excited I couldn't even think of it. The cost of living is creeping
Mhm.
up. Do you know what milk used to cost in my
Yeah.
day? It costs
Yeah.
an amount today. So
Yeah.
if your assets aren't growing and appreciating
Mhm.
in value, what's going on? What quality of life are you going to be able to live at 65, at 75, at 85? When is a good time to retire? All of these things. But see, what's one of the first seeds you need to plant? You need to plant that life insurance, whole life, if possible. I get it. I was there. I get it. And I understand you need that term life for some people because you know what? Ain't no room in the budget. It's a one mama household. I get it. But
Mhm.
when you get beyond that, and you will and you shall, be smart about it. Prepare for generational wealth. You see, prepare your child to be able to pull that money out their policy because you've been paying on it since they were 15 days old. And when they're 18 or 21 and they need a vehicle that, they want to purchase, let me pull out this policy and see how much I've invested in, no taxes, and I don't have to go ahead and apply at the bank because we got this money. We have to learn to set up our families financially and to build the pillars of wealth, land, that should be a part of your portfolio. Life insurance, that should be a part of your portfolio and a huge part of your portfolio, because those amounts, there's just no excuse to leave this earth anymore and not to leave anything for multiple generations. Okay.
So, Leona, do we have a moment to talk about living benefits inside of an insurance policy?
Yes, ma'am. Please go.
Okay, so what living benefits is, you can get living benefits inside of a term policy as well as inside of a whole life policy. But a living benefit, you obtain a living benefit outside of your job. These are policies that you would obtain outside of your job, but living benefits will cover you. God forbid, you have a heart attack, a stroke, or you're not able to perform some daily living activities, or if you come down with a health challenge like cancer or lupus, we have policies in place that, God forbid, if you come down with health challenges like that, this policy, you can get up to 90% of your policy while you are alive. So you don't have to have a life insurance policy just to go to the cemetery. You can enjoy some of the benefits inside of a life insurance policy while you are alive. And so living benefits are available for both term and whole life policy, and it's an absolute fabulous thing to have, because you never know. Every day when you walk out your home, you don't know if you're going to have an accident. It can happen just like that. It's not planned. We didn't plan to come here. We're not going to plan to go out of here. It's important that we get the protection and the coverage that we need. It's important that you talk to professionals that are involved. This is our scope. This is what we do. We protect families. We know about this type of coverage and this business. And so call us. And so we can talk about what's good for your family. It's no one size fits all. Long-term or living benefits. We got term policies and whole life policies with those benefits inside there. Yes. And the living benefits would be a great thing to have. And I'm gonna give this example right quick, but living benefits would be a great thing to have if you're working on a job and you come down with some chronic condition. You can't work on that job anymore. Well, guess what? You decided, you took a policy outside of your job that has living benefits inside of it.
Awesome.
And now you need additional care. And so when you need that additional care, you have that policy and you can tap into those funds. And so your family doesn't have to scale back because life has happened. Life has happened. So we encourage you. These are benefits that are available. So it will be impossible if you're not in this arena or this industry. It will be impossible for you to understand all the nuances about life insurance. So it's important, don't try to be an instant professional, because we've had to, Leona and myself, we've had to take a test. We have to go before state board. We have to be fingerprinted. Yeah, we have to study. We're not just salespeople. This is a profession. So it's not about you going online and going onto YouTube and listening to other people about the financial planning for your family. The plans that we have are individualized and customized to fit your needs, not general, not basic. It's to fit your needs. What's best for you? What's best for your family? What's best for your grandchildren? We have something for everybody. We can cover ages 0 to all the way to age 89. We can early as 15 days old, as early as 15 days old. And do you know what we're talking about that? 15 days old. You know, I'm in the industry, and do you know, this death came down my street, busted in my door, and my niece passed away. She was just a month old. I watched her change colors, black and blue, as she was her last days on this earth.
My Lord, this is, oof.
When it happens in your family,
Oof.
we were not prepared for that. No one, we don't know the hour or the day.
Mm, mm, mm.
We don't know when that's going to happen. But still today, this has been many years ago, I remember it just like yesterday. And guess what, y'all? We didn't have any insurance. I have the opportunity to share my personal story with you. Don't let this happen to your family. Don't go unprotected. We are living in some times of uncertainty. And at the sound of my voice, you've been informed, and you have some fantastic ladies right in front of you that will put your family first. We'll get you the coverage that's best for your family. And so I'm not just on here talking about something that I heard about, or I got to hurry up and make this money. This happens to me. It happened to my family. And I want to share this as much as possible. Don't let it be you. Don't flip past this webinar. Don't flip past this. You know, don't drive by. Oftentimes you don't miss that yellow M when you're driving by. You run right on through there and get your cheeseburger and a Coke. I'm saying to you today, don't run past this. This is important. This is essential to your family. Leona and I, we love protecting families, and we would love to protect your family. It's something that it helps to protect those that we care about. It will protect those that we care about from the unexpected. It's affordable. It's a guaranteed way for us to make sure that when we die, our family, our loved ones, our business partners, they won't experience unnecessary financial hardship. I have found that there's not anything that can provide financial protection to families and businesses like life insurance.
And can you get back to that? To that, what you said was key. There is nothing. Where are you? Do you understand that life insurance is heavily regulated in the United States of America to ensure there's no funny business going on? And I'm gonna tell you something, April. Sometimes people want the promise of leadership. They want the promotion of leadership. They want the paycheck of leadership. They want the production of leadership, but they don't want the process. In the moment you step up and you say that I am going to study to show myself approved, to empower families financially, that is a weight and that is a burden that's beyond a paycheck, because it's not glamorous like people think or assume. Because I'm watching podcasts and seeing different things, and I just be shaking my head sometimes. Yes, some things can, turn out to be what appears to be glamorous, but initially, a lot of the things that you're doing, you're making sure people get what they need. And so there's a weight of accountability that we have as leaders when we're providing this service to our clients. And we have got to make sure that it is what they need. We have got to make sure that it's nothing like getting a phone call, knowing that a family was protected. Tell them about the mother who had the young son. As we're, preparing to close out, the young gentleman who contacted you out of the blue one day, and unfortunately he passed away. Tell them about his mother and how that turned out.
Oh my goodness, Leona. I had a client that unfortunately passed away, and his family did not know that he had life insurance. So the family were, after he passed away, just was going through his personal items and happened to find my business card. And by finding my business card, I was able to assist the family in starting the process for the claim and filing a claim. But make a long story short, the family was able to have life insurance. And can you imagine a family going through the ceremony or the burial process, and months later contacting the agent? Because prior to that, okay, the family had to take out a loan because they weren't aware, they weren't prepared, had to take out a loan for those services. But after talking to me, after going through personal items, finding my information, they learned that there was a policy in place. And he died very young, at a very young age, in an accident, car accident, bam, just like that. Died in a car accident. And come to find out, because of, I'm pausing because this is recent. This is recent, y'all. This is recent. And you see me pausing because this is how much I care about my clients that I serve.
God,
when I learned about what's that?
May he rest in peace, because I know this is hard for you. Because we talk, we talk, and we talk about the impact. We talk about how heavy it is. So some people didn't even realize that we made sure that they had that living benefit. So now yes, you can go ahead and take off work.
I included because the person I'm sharing with you was self-employed. So yes, I include living benefits in there. I also included accidental coverage in the policy. Now, I cannot discuss the amount of the policy, but I just want to share with you the name of my agency is First Living Legacy, and I have tears in my eyes. It touches my heart, but because of the policy that I wrote, I was able to impact about 3 generations.
Come on, somebody. How many generations? That's real. That's real. That is real. And that is why we're here. You were able to impact 3 generations because of the area of expertise and the knowledge that you possess. You made sure that baby had living benefits. You made sure he had accidental. You made sure that he was covered. If anything happened, God forbid, that he would be covered. And because of that, he blessed his mother in a way that she is forever grateful for. Because the worst thing, if you ask me, that could happen to a parent is to lose a child, God forbid. But the weight of that, it's like that life insurance policy was a buffer for that baby. What is a buffer? When you fall, because life happens, people. Okay, I'm a witness. I got some testimonies. Just keep living. When you fall, there's nothing like a buffer. Nothing like a buffer to catch you, say, oh, praise God, I can bounce right back and get up on my 2 feet and keep running this race called life. This is 2022. And I'm telling you, I love to hear April's stories. And, you know, we talk, she coaches me, she encourages me, she empowers me. And we just really just vibe because of the hearts that we have. And when I tell you this woman was hurt, she was hurt to know that this happened to this baby. She had just spoken to this young man. Was it the day before he passed, April?
Yeah, I had talked to him. Yeah, it was recent, and I was tore up for the whole day. I was messed up. I was messed up.
And to find out months later, they didn't even know he was covered. And you had gotten on him to make sure he paid that premium. So, you know, sometimes people just need encouragement. When April says, Leona, look, okay, you got this down pat. Now it's time for you to learn a different leg of the financial side for your clients. I have an open ear. I have an open heart. Who are you listening to? What voices are around you that you are genuinely learning from and growing from that are challenging you? So, you know, if you can't afford the whole life, for me, you know, as for me in my house, whole life for my child. Can you imagine how far ahead my baby gonna be when she's my age? Oh, what you want? You want a what? You ain't got to go to the bank, but no, let's pull this money out. You know, I heard people say things like, well, why life insurance is for when you pass? Who said that? It's called life insurance. It's one of the pillars of strength of this country. It's one of the pillars of wealth. Because when you have something, and this is key, April, people want a wife, they want a husband, they want a house, they want a car, but can you maintain it? Do you know I lost my first car? I'm gonna make it quick. My first car was a Camaro, and my grandfather bought it for me. I am the only one of all his grandchildren, baby, that he bought a car for. And yes, it was used, and it was a 1980 something, and this was back in the 90s. So, you know, I had people laughing at my car, but baby, it was the metal sturdy doors. It was a Camaro.
There were some good cars.
Girl, I wish I still had it. It'd be an antique. But I say all of that to say, my grandfather did not teach me to take it to get the oil changes regularly. He changed the oil. So I didn't know when I didn't go see Poppy, and he didn't, because when I would go see him, let me check your oil. He would check it, he would change it. I didn't know. So when I started having problems with the engine and my grandfather had it towed and checked out, they said the car didn't have no oil in it. And you know what my Poppy said? He said, baby, that's my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't teach you that you have to take your car to get regular oil changes. I didn't know. I was ignorant. It costs me something, people. It cost me one of the most beautiful gifts that I was ever given, which was a vehicle that my grandfather, that was my heart right there. He bought that for me. He didn't have to do that. He made sure I wasn't walking with my baby Calvin. He made sure that I had a car to drive. And I say that to say our ignorance, it cost us something. Oh, I'm not doing that because people want money. Child, please, what? In what world? Because you better best and believe if you ever become an agent with all the qualifications and honey, the accountability that's associated with that, people know not what they say. They don't understand the cost, the weight of the cost of doing what we're doing. So I say all of that to say, make sure that you handle your business. You want it, but can you maintain it? You want a lifestyle, you want a house. Can you maintain it? Are you getting your gutters clean? Are you getting your I told my daughter the other day, I looked at the ceiling fan, I said, "Oh, hold up. That's a little dustier than usual. What's really going on? Oh, it's time to get the vent system cleaned out. We gonna get somebody up in here and just pull, get the vents cleaned out so that the air quality in my room, my house is air quality." And so I say all of that to say, I really hope, April, for the people who have an ear and the people who have a heart and want to be ahead, that they are ready and willing to prepare. I'm grateful that you came on today to touch bases on, why you chose to mentor me and why I asked you to mentor me, and, why I enjoy working with you and why you enjoy working with me. And with that in mind, before I get ready to ask you, is there anything else that you have? I want people to know my favorite number, and I've said this on several podcasts, my favorite number is the number 2. And when I think of that, I feel most comfortable being a number 2. I enjoy being led. I enjoy learning. I enjoy helping. And one of the reasons why, because there is a cost associated with being number 1 that sometimes I don't want to have to pay. There's a cost, and it's called accountability. There is levels to life. And so being a number 2, I get to help support the vision. I help to get to build the vision. I help to be there as a confidant, you know. I help to be there to make sure that things are in place. But to those mentors who are in that number 1 position, there's a level of accountability with everything that comes out of their mouth that God will hold them accountable to, as well as the state of Texas and beyond. Okay, because the federal government is not playing with nobody the last time I checked. And I don't want them knocking on my door. So with
Right.
that said, is there anything, April, that you would like to say in closing? And you'll be back again.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me on to your platform. I am so proud of you and what you're doing and the success that you've got yet coming. I also just want to share few little notes here about how essential life insurance is to every family. I found that there's not anything that can provide financial protection to families and businesses like life insurance. There's not an investment, there's not a stock, there's not a savings plan, there's not a bond, there's not a mutual fund, there's not nothing. There is no other product that can deliver tax-free cash, cancel debts, providing a lifetime of income to surviving family members and relieve family members for end of life expenses. Life insurance keeps businesses open, employees employed. When an owner has passed away, it builds legacies and keeps dreams alive. It is your private, prepaid GoFundMe account that provides financial security. It is the foundation of any good financial plan. So if you have anyone at all that depends on you, a spouse, a child, grandchild, elderly parents, a niece, a nephew, aunts, uncle, give yourself financial peace of mind and alleviate hardship on your family. We know all too well that death is inevitable. I am passionate. Leona is passionate. We're passionate about serving and protecting families. We want to preserve the financial future of your family. I never, you know how hard it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart if I have to tell a family that family does, that person stopped paying their premiums. That person no longer has coverage. It hurts me dearly.
That person didn't have accidental. That's another additional amount of money that you're going to get just from that. And it might have just been $2 more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That person deciding that maybe their television program was more important, or their rims was more important than paying their life insurance policy, or they just decided that they're going to swim in the sky like Superman and live forever. Life insurance is critical. I never want to see a family lose everything because of failure to plan. I never want to see that happen.
It's sad, but it happens. And, we have to just stop making excuses. We have to stop making excuses. We have to get the correct information that we need in order to accomplish our financial goals. We need to be able to make decisions. It's kind of like, in my office space, I have two desks, a desk behind me and a desk in front of me. But I said to myself the other day, I want to revamp, I want to remodel what's going on. I have enough space to put a whole sofa in here. I just need to remove the one desk. You have options, people. You see, I like this setup, right? But what are my options? The option is I can put a whole desk in here, remove this, and just use this desk. And I just may do that. But the point is, a lot of times when you're just not thinking about the options, you're limited to your perception. You're limited to your perception, but your perception is not always reality. You think you can't afford it. Well, let's see how many times you eat McDonald's, how many times you eating Starbucks, how many times are you going out and entertaining yourself? How many cable or streaming platforms are you connected to? Can you, go with one particular company as opposed to having 5 or 4? Maybe you want to include your home insurance and your car insurance and everybody under one umbrella, save money in that arena, pull it back, put it back on your life insurance policy. We have options. But what I will say is, I thank God every day for giving me the gift of, wanting to be humble, because for me, in my mind, that's a constant, race for me to run. Lord, let me be humble, Lord, because I don't know what's coming in life. God forbid anything go on. Please give me the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to handle it. And then number 2, to really want to help support and help people who don't know, they don't know. They don't know. So you can contact me directly. You can contact April directly. You can go on Plans of Action Houston website and connect to Living Legacy. You can go on livinglegacy.com and connect to Leona Baker.
It's firstlivinglegacy.com. Firstlivinglegacy.com, and you can contact myself or Leona through that website.
Yes. Well, April, it has been a blessing and a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for believing in me. I'm grateful and I appreciate you because you are very knowledgeable in ways people will never even have a chance to know. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon, April, on the Inspiration Incubator.
Yes, Leona, you got to come on over so we can have a cup of coffee sometime.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right.